What's up everyone, David here, got a new video for y'all today, but before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you can miss out on any new videos, because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. Now again, I'm telling y'all, Ritfit has just been too kind for me. At first they sent me a massive power rack, then they sent me a leg press slash hack squat machine, 2-in-1 machine, real good. Now we got this, we got a separate attachment for the power rack, and believe me when I tell you, things just keep getting better and better. I'm just adding so much variety to my workouts. Every piece of equipment they send me, everything has exceeded my expectations. Everything has been real beneficial for my gains. Now, before we get into it, if you haven't already, make sure you look at the full review video for the power rack. And on top of that, make sure you watch the full review for the 2-in-1 leg press. Again, both pieces of equipment, especially if you're someone who's starting a home gym, crucial. I mean, this brand for home gym equipment standards, this is everyone else. This is Ritfit. They go above and beyond with the quality of their equipment. But enough of that. So what exactly do we have today? We have an attachment for the actual squat rack. Now, this attachment, first thing that everyone's going to be doing, obviously, is going to be squats. I don't blame you. I mean, that's what it's meant for. But when I saw this, the very first thing that came to my mind was, I'm going to be using that for calf raises. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to be talking about. What are the pros and cons to the calf raises? Before getting this piece of equipment right here, I was doing my calf raises on the Smith machine bar that came attached to the power rack that they previously sent me. So, you know, I'm right here, I unrack the bar, go up and down, no big deal. But eventually, if you go heavy enough with those, I found out that it's starting to annoy my shoulders, having to constantly be stretched out like this. I don't have the best mobility in the world, so I'm like, man, it would be a lot easier if my arms don't have to stretch so far back. Boom, this thing right there has been a game changer. I mean, realistically, I gotta go underneath it. There's handles right here in the front, so my arms, instead of normally having to be all the way back here when it comes to a barbell, boom, I can have them right here in front of me. And damn, man, these calf raises, I'm telling you, my shoulders do not get to me. They're not becoming the limiting factor. Anytime I was doing it on the Smith machine and every time I started fatiguing, the first thing that would give out was my shoulders, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel a little something from stretching them so far back. No, this thing right here has been real beneficial. Definitely going to be using it a lot for my calf raises. Now, the actual padding on it, because obviously, you know, you want to be comfortable when you're on there. Not the biggest thing in the world, but I mean, if you're someone who cares about like the comfort level and little things like that, padding, nice and thick. It's the same level of padding that they have on the bench that they sent me. Again, part of the power rack review video. And the actual padding that came along with the bench press is the same thick, dense foam padding that's on here. So it's got the regular shoulder, or the one that goes on your traps right here. And it's got one that angles a little bit more slightly down. So it actually curves over your shoulder, so it feels like it fits perfectly onto your actual shoulder. Now, what I like about this particular attachment, especially when it comes to something like calf raises, is you're not going all the way down like you would a squat. With a calf raise, you're only going, what, like up at most 4-5 inches? You're only doing this. So it would be really uncomfortable and inconvenient if you have to lift the entire attachment arm all the way up, load it onto your shoulders, and then go about it. No, this thing already has like an extra attachment right here that allows you to rack the bar up until this point. So as you can see, it's got multiple different slots that you can use. That way, whatever exercise you're doing, you can just, when you're done, pull the pin, put it back in, and then boom, you're good to go. But for me personally, for calf raises, I just keep it at the highest pin level right here. And then from right there, once I actually go on my calf raise block and I go ahead and do my calf raises, this bar is already moving like this. It's going up and down. And then when I'm done, boom, it catches it onto this pin. So again, real easy to set up. Again, I would really hate it if I had to go lift it up all the way, get it on my shoulders, and then go up and down. No, this little system right here, all these different pins, it's like having a little mini power rack right here with all the different hole settings. That is beneficial. That is definitely a big plus. And what I also like about it is the fact that they're so close together, so there's more variety, there's more levels. Because most power racks, especially like this right here, we see that there's one hole right here, there's a good amount of space before the next hole. No, right here, they're very close together, so you have more options of what height you want to put it on. And since we're talking about height, when it comes to attaching it onto the rack itself, I'm not gonna lie, I have a little issues with that. The way you attach it on the rack is this part right here has a little sleeve that wraps around this post. And on top of that, it's got two openings that you slide these pins in through. So you line them up to the holes that are already on the rack, slide the pin in, and then on the other side, behind it, there's another hole right there that you slide this little additional pin through. Boom, like that. Make sure it clicks all the way through, and that keeps it from sliding back out. So there's one of them at the bottom, and there's one of them at the top. If you can go ahead and line up the top one, then you're good to go. But it's a little inconvenient if you have to do it by yourself, or if you're gonna constantly be attaching it onto this rack. Now, if you go on Ritfit, their website, they do have a separate post similar to this one, a separate rod that you can attach onto any wall, so that way this attachment right here has its own designated spot in your home gym. But for right now, I don't have that, so I've just been attaching it to the rack. So it is a little inconvenient if you are gonna be attaching on a rack, because think about it, now that it's here, I can't squat on it because this is the hole setting where I would have put the J cups for the barbell itself. So I just want to put that into your perspective. But also on top of that, it's not that it's heavy, it's just since it's so awkwardly shaped and this part moves but this part doesn't, it swivels a lot. It's hard to just try to get it up, hold it in place while trying to slide the pin in and everything's moving around. Just if you're by yourself, it could be a little difficult. But you know what, if you have two people, no big deal. Or if you were to just get that separate rod, or just keep it mounted on anything, even if you're just gonna keep it mounted on this rack on its own at all times, well then you don't have to worry about it. So just want to put that out there. If you could find a way to get this mounted onto something and keep it there forever, not having to worry about putting it up and taking it down constantly, then you're good to go. Now here's another issue that I came across, and it's mainly towards this side, all right, the left loading pin. I decided, you know what, this is a video promoting Ritfit's equipment, so you know what, I'm gonna be courteous. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Ritfit bumper plates, which they were also so kindly to send me. If you haven't checked out that review, it's part of the power rack review video. So I'm like, you know what, let's just go all Ritfit. Let's just market it out. Let's go Ritfit plates, Ritfit attachment right here. But look what happens. It's not going through. You have to kind of like twist it on there and apply some pressure to actually get it on there. So I'm like, what's happening here? I'm like, okay, maybe it was just that particular plate. No big deal. Let me grab another one. So then I grabbed, let's just say this one, 15-pound plate on there. Slides a little bit easier, but there's still like some, a little, like it's not smooth, and you can see the scratch marks on here. So I'm like, huh, what's happening here? So I'm like, all right, let's go ahead. You see, it's like pulling the whole thing right there. And then I took these off. Not that big of a deal. But then afterwards, I'm like, okay, maybe it's those type of plate. I don't know what it is, but I tried putting just this generic plate. It's just a normal 45-pound plate, you know, just like the no-name brand ones. Smooth all the way in. So that's just something that you have to be real mindful of. It's depending on what brand plates you use. Some of them, they make the diameter of the hole just barely big enough, because this is the right size for a regular barbell. So you might have to look at some of the plates that maybe the hole is just a little bit bigger, and that way they could slide in easier. And it's just that side, because on this side, the same place that I was having an issue with on the left side, sliding a lot smoother. So I don't know if one side was just a little bigger than the other or what the issues are, but just be mindful of it. I don't know if it's this specific model, maybe it's just new, it needs to be sanded down a little, but you know, just be mindful that some of the plates at first, it might be a little hard to slide them on. Okay, so that's it for the pros and cons when it comes to just the calf raises. Overall, will I still highly recommend it? Yes, because the pump I got on my calves was unbelievable. The comfort of having the handles right here in front of you instead of having to have my arms all the way stretched back as if I was doing it with a bar, unbelievable. Was it a little inconvenient just having to slide the plates on here? Yeah, but no big deal. Just choose the right type of plates. Now I know in the future I'm probably going to put the metal ones, or I'll just have to sand it down a little and then just get used to the regular bumper plates sliding them on here. No big deal. Still really highly effective for calf raises. And I know many of y'all, just like me, calves are a weak point. All right, so we got to do what we got to do to bring them up. Start going heavy, start loading it up on those calf raises. Now, to the main exercise that most people will probably be using this for is going to be squats. Now, me personally, am I going to be using this very often for squats? Probably not. You want to know why? Because Ritfit was so kind enough to send me a 2-in-1 hack squat and leg press machine. So I got so many squat variations I could do on this, plenty of leg training that I could do on that. So if you haven't checked out this video, go ahead and look it up. I'm talking about that one right there. In all seriousness though, the squats on here are not that bad. I have pros and I have not necessarily a con, but it's more of something that you need to be aware of to make sure that you're doing it right. Now, again, the comfort level of the pads when you squat, all right, it's good. Once it's already set up, again, it's good. The fact that you can rack it on here when you fail a rep and you can't do another one, boom, slide the pin back in, no big deal. The only thing I will say though is if you are going to be doing squats on here, you have to be very mindful of the fact that it's a pendulum. A pendulum means that it's an arm that pivots across one particular point. This particular point meaning it's right here. So it's not like a normal barbell where it's going to be going up and down like this. The fact that it's pivoting on something is going to be like this. So that means it's going to be coming forward a little as it goes down. So the first time that I did the squats on here, I was just going straight up and down. And on the way down, I can feel that after a certain point, again, because again, the bar is not just going straight down, it's going down and it's curving in a little. Because think of it like a circle motion. After I get down to a low enough point, I feel like it's starting to push me forward because again, it's just the nature of the way it's gonna be curving as it goes down. So an easy fix that I did for that is for the next set, I moved my feet a little bit closer until I felt that point where it was no longer pushing me forward. And at that point, it felt very similar to a hack squat. Now you may be saying, okay, well, how's a hack squat supposed to feel? When you do a normal squat, you feel it in your glutes and your quads when you're going straight up and down. But the more you start angling your body this way, pushing your feet forward, the more it's going to feel like a hack squat, because a hack squat is angled, the more emphasis is going to be putting on your quads. So that's exactly what I felt here. Once I was trying to figure out what's that right foot placement so that I don't feel like that pushing motion going forward, I felt it a lot more on my quads, which is, you know, nothing bad if you're someone who's trying to build up your quads, because we all get plenty of glute work. We just don't get enough quad work. So again, it's not a negative. It's just a matter of knowing how to do it right. If you don't mind that feeling of it pushing you a little forward as you go down, okay, then don't adjust your feet. But I will like to think that, man, it would be a little cool if maybe they sell like a separate like foot attachment or like a foot pad that you could put on the ground that's already angled, so you could just put your feet on there so your body's already like this prior to starting, kind of mimicking it in actual pendulum squat. Because if you look at pendulum squat machines, the platform is already angled for you. So Ritfit, I feel like that would be a really good idea that you can sell hand in hand with this. I feel like that people would definitely buy it, because I know a lot of people like the pendulum squat exercise. They just don't want to buy the whole machine. If you have this and an angled platform, oh my God, your quads are gonna grow like crazy, trust me. So the only true negative I can say about this attachment when it comes to doing squats specifically is the pin that's holding this thing up. Because look, right now it's standing on its own. If you wanna actually go do your squats, you can't, obviously, you can't go all the way down. You have to unrack it, pull the pin out, and now you can go all the way down as much as you want. But here's the issue. It feels awkward. Where am I supposed to put this pin? Yeah, I can hold on to it, but if I put it on top of here, there is the risk that it's gonna be moving around. I mean, you could hear it slamming on everything. I'm all like, can I balance it up here? So I feel like there should be something right there that should be a little easier. I feel like if I just leave it on top there, it might actually tip over at one point. And if I'm struggling, let's just say I can't get it up, but just the fact that it's moving so much, it accidentally falls on the ground and I'm stuck down here, I can't get the last rep. Well, what do I do at this point? So I'm just saying, I feel like there should be something on there, so that way when you disconnect it, you can either let it hang by a chain, so there should be like a cable or a chain connecting, and it could just hang, and then whenever you're done, you can put it back in. Or maybe like some type of lever system where you could just pop the lever back into place. I just feel like it's a lot of work to pull the pin out and then put it back in, because after you're fatigued, your legs are burning, and it's kind of hard because you can't really see where the holes are laying because they're on the sides, they're not in front of you. So that would be my only critique when it comes to this. But other than that, I mean, this thing does the job that it's supposed to do. Can you do squats on it? Yes. Can you load it up heavy enough to produce enough stimulus so that your quads and your glutes can grow when you're doing this exercise? Yes. So therefore, would I highly recommend that you get this piece of equipment? Will you get a good leg workout in? Will you see results from using this piece of equipment? Yes, yes, and yes. So there you have it, everyone. That is the review video for this squat machine attachment. That's what I'm going to be calling it. Some people may be referring to it as a power rack attachment. Just know it's something that attaches to not only the power rack, but just something in general. Like I said, they do sell that individual post that if you want to keep it mounted on there, which I highly recommend. I'm definitely going to be getting it so that way I can mount it on the wall, so I don't have to keep having to disconnect it from here every time I want to use the rack to squat. But overall, Ritfit, y'all are on a roll. That's 3 for 3. Power rack home gym combo, A+, definitely recommend it. 2-in-1 leg press hack squat machine, reviewed it, works great. That's 2 for 2. Third piece of equipment right here, attachment for the power rack that I could do my calf raises and my squats on. That's third piece of equipment. That's 3 for 3. A+ across the board for all pieces of equipment that this company is producing. I'm telling you, for home gym equipment, it goes above and beyond the standards that you may think. It could definitely hold up to the actual workouts that you're going to be doing. I mean, I had this thing loaded up to over 200 pounds for all the exercises, and it held up. No issues, didn't budge, the rack didn't tip over. Everything did exactly what it was supposed to be doing. I was able to push myself hard enough. I was able to load it up heavy enough, and I'm definitely going to be getting results by using this particular piece. So should you all be getting it? Absolutely. It saves so much space. Again, if you don't want to get a pendulum squat but you like the exercise, boom, this is your easy fix. You don't want to get a calf raise machine but you already know, like me, your calves are a weak point. Well, here you go. Good way to set it up, load it up, go on your toes, squeeze those calves. Again, highly recommend. Don't have too many negatives. The only things are just, it was too big right here to slide the plates on. This, I feel like there could be something a little bit smoother to unrack and get the pin out. And this one's just up to you. If you can find a way to keep this mounted on something and avoid having to put it up and taking down from anything, highly recommend it, because it will get a little inconvenient, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have this particular piece, comment down below if you used it and how do you feel. What are the pros and cons to doing it, and for what particular exercise? Because like I said, I'm going to be using it a lot for calf raises, not so much for squats, just mainly because calves are my weak point and I see the real good benefit of doing so. Also, comment down below any other video suggestions you'd like to see me do, whether it be about mindset, motivation, nutrition, diets, workouts, programs, whatever it is, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help y'all out. Be sure to subscribe not just to my channel, but my girlfriend's channel and our couple's channel so you don't miss out on any new videos. Because remember, new videos on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so don't miss out. And then Instagram and TikTok, same thing. Be sure to follow me on my accounts, girlfriend's accounts, couple's accounts. I put all the links down in the description below. With that being said, I'll catch y'all next time.